thank you everyone who's joined. Thank you to our customers. I know there are a few partners as well, and all the members of the team. So thank you for making time out. I think this is very important for everyone to keep abreast with. So jumping straight into it, I think as Shalini mentioned, this presentation is really around the new commerce experience. And just to sum it up, what the new commerce experience is all about is Microsoft recently announced a change in the way, that customers purchase and the way that they manage their licenses, on the Microsoft environment. So this affects us both as a provider, it affects our partners, and it affects you as the end customer. And this is why it's really important that we thought we would hold this session to brief you on the changes that are coming and how they affect you and how you can benefit, or at least, try and make the most out of the changes that are coming. Okay, so I think Shalini did briefly highlight there's certain changes to things like cancellation policies, and a few things that will affect your billing going forward. So getting straight into it, a thing to mention is, firstly, the new commerce experience was launched in this January by Microsoft, so on the 10th of January to be exact. So as it is, we can start actually transacting in the new commerce experience for both you, our customers, and as Liquid. So as of the 10th of January, it was launched, and the deadlines that are actually there in terms of having everyone moving over to the new commerce platform, because currently we're on what we call the legacy CSP, or at least that's how I'll be referring to the current commerce experience we're in. The legacy commerce experience at the moment, when it comes to new signups, as of the 10th of March, all new signups that will be coming through will have to sign up on this new commerce platform and sign on to the terms that we'll be covering today. And when it comes to existing subscriptions you may have, or all our existing customers, when it comes to the 30th of June, going forward, which means on the 1st of July, all our customers need to actually sign up or at least renew their existing subscriptions through the new commerce experience. So it's quite important. And there are also some benefits to our customers to actually move over to the new commerce experience before this deadline comes. And we're going to cover all that, but this is just to note some of the timelines that we're working with at the moment. Another thing is that there are also a few price changes that are coming on the 1st of March that will affect all our customers as well. So please take note of that when we're going through this presentation. And in terms of, what is being affected by the new commerce terms, we're looking at what we term as mainly the cloud productivity portfolio, which covers your Microsoft 365, your Dynamics 365, as well as the Microsoft Power Platform. Okay, so currently when you're looking at Liquid Telecom, anything else you're getting on in terms of the Microsoft services, in terms of licensing, that excludes the Azure services. This will be affected, okay? So jumping straight into it, I think the first thing to actually highlight is a change in the terms, subscription terms, or what we currently define as the subscription agreement term. There are a few changes coming. Microsoft has introduced, more flexible terms, as well as more billing options to the ones we currently have to align with the terms they've introduced. And this is quite important for us to highlight, because once we are now getting into the new terms under NCE, you'll see how they feed back into this. So it's quite important that we actually understand the new terms and the billing options quite clearly before we move on, so that you'll see how it ties into everything else. So let me just mention that currently, under Legacy CSP, all customers are currently signing up onto a 12-month or annual subscription term, okay, which means you've signed an annual subscription agreement with us, or an annual agreement with us, and the options that are there in terms of payments, you currently have a monthly billing option or an upfront billing option where you pay for the full year, okay, so it's important to note that. Coming now onto NCE, the terms are changing. So in terms of the subscription terms, which you can look at as the length of your agreement that you sign with us, the subscription terms are now 3 options. We've got the monthly subscription term. So that's a 1-month term where it's almost as if you're, renewing your agreement with us at the end of every month. And then there's the annual or 12-month term, and then the 36-month or triannual term. Okay, so these are the agreement terms, basically what we've, agreed on in our terms to sign up for that specific period. Now, when it comes to the billing options, you now have an option. Obviously, on the monthly term, the only option you have is the monthly billing. When it comes to the annual and 36-month term, you then have the following. Okay, let me just bring the screen up. So if you're on a monthly term, the billing option that you have obviously is the monthly billing. But one thing to note is that firstly, you can get affected by any price increases. So if, this month the price is $4 or whichever price you're having in your local currency, and the next month that price is now $5, you will get affected by that price change at the renewal time, which is every month. And the pricing will also be, priced higher for monthly terms. So if you're comparing someone who signs onto an annual term versus someone who's signing onto a monthly term, you'll notice that if you're on a monthly term, you're going to pay about 20% more. When you compare the full annual period, if you say whatever you're paying in that month, you multiply it by 12 versus someone who's signed up onto an annual term, you'll notice that they are going to save more if they're on an annual term. If you're on a 12-month subscription term, the billing option that you have is the monthly and upfront billing or annual billing term. Okay, and the great thing about this, I think I already mentioned, is annual terms as well as the triannual or 36-month term are going to be priced better. So you're going to have some savings there for the long-term commitment you're making. And you're not going to get affected by any price increases, regardless of the billing option you're taking. So if I'm on an annual term, for example, and I sign on to an annual term with monthly billing option, even though other customers who are on a monthly term get affected by any upcoming price increases, I will continue to pay the same monthly subscription cost for the duration of the year. The same applies if you're on a 36-month contract. You continue paying the same monthly fee for those 3 years. You're not going to be affected by any other price increases that come in within the term that you're in. So there's a huge benefit there for subscribing or signing up onto a long-term commitment rather than the actual month-to-month. All right. So that said, after defining the subscription terms and also defining the available billing options under each subscription term, there are now some changes, significant changes that are coming in terms of subscription management. Starting off, I think let's talk about service cancellation. Currently under Legacy CSP, you can sign up, and depending within the country that you've signed up in, most countries will allow you to be able to cancel your subscription at any point in time. Okay, meaning if I sign up today and I've signed up even for for the annual term, whether I'm paying upfront or I'm paying on a monthly basis, I'm able to request a cancellation of my services. If I cancel within 24 hours, I get a full credit as a customer. If I cancel after the 24 hours, I get a prorated credit. So that's how it currently works. However, under the NCE now, for the 24-hour cancellation period, everything remains the same. You get your full credit. So if I provision a license right now, I then request a cancellation within the first 24 hours, that will be processed and I get my full credit. Okay. But after the 24 hours has passed, now as customers, we only have a 72-hour cancellation window that we can actually cancel this subscription within. And that's for a prorated credit. Okay. So if I sign up today and within the next 3 days, I, make a cancellation, I will get a prorated credit. I'll be billed for whatever I've used in the first 3 days. And then, I get my prorated credit for the remainder of the term. And note, this is regardless of whether you've signed up for a monthly term contract or you've signed up for annual or triannual. These rules apply regardless of the term you've signed up on and regardless of the billing option you've selected. Okay. So as it is, what this basically means is if I sign up today and I don't cancel within the first 72 hours or first 3 days, I'm no longer able to cancel my subscription. And this is very important that we all understand, because it's a significant change. Whereas currently right now you can cancel at any time, but in the NCE or new commerce experience, you will only be able to cancel that subscription at your terms renewal, which means if I've signed up, for example, on an annual term, I'm only actually able to cancel after 12 months, after that term has passed. The same applies if you've signed up onto a 36-month contract. You can only cancel after that 36-month if you don't cancel within that 72-hour frame. Okay, so if you're on a monthly, obviously, if you're on a monthly term, you can cancel at the end of the month, but not midway through the month soon after you've passed the 72-hour. So very important that we understand the significant change that's coming through. Another change that's coming is an enforcement. So this wouldn't really affect, I think, customers who have, or at least who are aware of the policy that affects the Microsoft 365 business plans, where we have a 300-seat limit from Microsoft. And this is per plan, please take note. So currently as it is, and it will still be the same rule applying going forward. With Microsoft, when it comes to the business plans, so this is speaking into, for example, Microsoft 365 business apps, your business premium, your business standard, your business basic, I'm not too sure which one I've left out. But if you're on any of those plans, Microsoft says the cap in terms of the number of seats or licenses that you can have under your tenant per plan is 300 seats. So that means I can have 300 business premium, I can have 300 business basic, and so forth. The limit is per each plan or per each business SKU, okay? The problem is at the moment on the platform, we found that some customers, have either knowingly or unknowingly gone and provisioned extra seats. So currently the platform is not enforcing that policy or that rule that Microsoft have set and communicated to customers. So you find that some customers have more than 300 seats of, for example, business premium, whereas that seat limit is meant to be 300. And going forward into the NCE now, if a customer migrates to this new commerce experience or starts, purchasing and managing their subscriptions under the new commerce experience, this will now be enforced, meaning that any subscriptions that you have that are in breach of that, or that are going above that seat limit of 300 seats, whichever seats came first, so the first 300 will remain active, but any other seats that are above that 300 that were added afterwards will become inactive. And this is just Microsoft obviously trying to ensure that we align with the policy that they've set for these business plans. So it's very important that as a customer, if you're aware that you have above 300 seats per any of these business plans, please do contact us. We can help you and see which plans we can either then put you on for those extra users or upgrade you onto a better plan that suits your requirements. But it's very important because going into NCE, these SKUs will be deactivated, or these plans will be deactivated. Okay, so it's very important to take note of that. Another change coming is on adjusting your seat counts and also adjusting the actual seats in terms of upgrading to a higher seat or downgrading to a lower service plan. As it is at the moment under Legacy CSP, as a customer, you're allowed to increase the number of seats at any time, as well as decrease the number of seats, for any subscription you have under your tenant. You're also allowed to upgrade. So if I'm upgrading from a lower plan, for example, I'm upgrading from business standard to business premium or to an enterprise plan, I'm allowed to do that at any point in time. And if I'm trying to downgrade as well, to go from a higher plan onto a lower plan, that is also allowed to be processed at any time currently. But under NCE, firstly, let's touch on, I think, the increasing of seats and upgrades, because on those, there's not much of a change. So if you're increasing your seats or upgrading a seat on the NCE or New Commerce Experience, you're allowed to do that at any time. So it's basically the same terms that we're currently on right now. The change now comes when it comes to decreasing your seats or to downgrade from a higher plan to a lower plan or lower feature plan. Within this first 72 hours that we mentioned before the cancellation period, those 72 hours are the same hours that are going to be applying when it comes to decreasing seats. So this is decreasing the count. If I have 10 seats of business premium, now I want 8. Okay, that's decreasing your seats. And then I think I explained on the downgrading, where you're coming from a higher plan to a lower plan. So on this, within the first 72 hours, the same period we have for cancellations is the same period you have where you still be allowed to decrease the number of seats or to downgrade from a higher SKU to a lower one, or from a higher plan to a lower one. Thereafter, once you've passed that 72-hour period, you will no longer be able to decrease, make any changes in terms of decreasing the seats or downgrading. So it's very important that, firstly, even when we're looking at the number of seats, we will advise you, if it's a new sign up, we will advise you accordingly to ensure that you provision the correct number of seats, taking in mind that depending on the term that you're on, you will only be allowed to decrease the number of seats or to downgrade when your term renewal comes up. So there again, if you're on a monthly term, you can, downgrade your plan, or you can decrease the number of seats at the end of the month, okay, at the end of the term, your monthly term. But if you're on an annual or triannual, you have to take note that you have to keep these seats for the duration of that term, meaning you are committed, and we are also committed to, paying up what's due for the remainder of the period to Microsoft. So this is very important as well, a huge change that is coming that we should all take note of. Okay, that said, I think just when we started the presentation, I did mention that, there's some price changes that are coming. So besides having the monthly subscriptions being priced higher, about 20% higher than you signing up on an annual subscription, we also have a number of SKUs or service plans that are going to be affected by a price change on the 1st of March this year. Okay, and I've listed them here. You'll notice that there's a table that's been shared in this presentation. These are the SKUs or service plans that are going to be affected on the 1st of March. The current price is listed on the left, and the new price that will be there going forward, and take note, this is pricing that is per user per month. Okay, so all the pricing that's shared here is per user per month. That's the new price on the right side, on the right column, right at the far right of this table. So it's very important to take note, especially if you're on any of these plans, that these price changes are coming. And the reason why, because you might be asking, why are these price changes coming? I think I must highlight that Microsoft, really has brought price changes that are affecting most of their business and enterprise plans. But what they've actually done is to add so much value in the form of, collaboration apps such as Microsoft Teams. Apologies, I think someone is unmuted. If you could mute yourself, please, so that we don't have a bit of feedback. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I was mentioning that, as much as Microsoft has kept the prices, stagnant for a number of years on a number of their service plans, what they have done is to add so much more value onto these service plans through, features such as adding applications like Teams, which each and every person, I think, is realizing the value, especially in the time that we're going through at the moment. They've also added security features, added a lot of AI, into it, things like Power Apps and so forth. So they've added a lot of value, but they have not increased the price. And now it's just more trying to align, and as well as them also trying to continue to add more value, they've had to revise the prices of some of these plans. And you'll notice that for some of these plans as well, some additional features are going to also be introduced. For example, on the business premium, additional security features that were not there before, later in the year, are going to also be introduced. So it will be value for money. But that said, I think what you would probably be wondering now is, okay, either how do I protect myself, or, how do I manage this going forward? And we're going to jump straight into some of the, I think, solutions that we have, or a way around for you to at least try and lock in some price for the meantime and try and protect yourself from these price changes, at least for, the upcoming year. But I mean, when it comes to, I think, budgeting as well, it's just very important to take note of these price increases, and take note it's per user. Okay. So that said, we've mentioned that these price increases are coming, and you might be wondering, as a customer, how do I protect myself? What's going to happen on the time that I renew, or I'm paying monthly? What can I do to protect myself from these price increases? I think firstly to mention is, if you're on an annual term, which everyone is on, but you're also paying on an annual billing option, meaning you're paying upfront, you're only going to be affected by the price increase at your time of renewal. Okay, so when you renew is when you're going to be affected by this price increase. If currently your term is extending, or if you've just recently renewed, you will only be affected by the price changes next year. And this is if you're paying annually. Okay. But what you can now do is to move to the NCE. And the reason why we're encouraging you to move to the new commerce experience now is because there are a lot of benefits in terms of locking in a price, regardless of whether you're, paying on a monthly term, or you want to sign up on a monthly term, or you're going on the long-term commitments. And the benefits that are there, I'll start with the annual term renewals. So if currently, whether, you're paying monthly and you want to move over to the NCE, if you renew and select an annual term subscription, and remember, on annual term, it doesn't mean you have to pay annual upfront. There's an option to pay monthly, but all you've done is to commit to the annual term, but you've got that monthly billing option. So if you sign up on the NCE and say, okay, please migrate my account and I want to renew on an annual term, you get a 5% discount off the current pricing. Okay. So firstly, what this does is it gives you a 5% discount. And then in addition to that, you also get to be protected from those price increases that we mentioned that are coming through in March. Another benefit is that this price lock applies for the 12 months. So if I renew my on an annual term under NCE today, I can even add on seats afterwards. So meaning even in June, I can add on additional seats, but still enjoy the same pricing. So that will really save you, because you protect yourself from that price protection, and you also get that 5% discount. All right. And please take note, this is up to 2,400 seats per subscription. So that's the limited terms of the seats that we'll be able to enjoy, or that will be eligible for this special pricing. Now, speaking on to the monthly terms, which I think would be more applicable to anyone who's currently paying monthly, what you can do is, if you opt to renew under the monthly term under NCE, meaning your contract is renewing, at the end of the monthly term, if you sign up on that, what you can do for yourself is to lock down the price until the 1st of July. And when I'm saying locking down the price, sorry, it means as of the 1st of July is the only time you will start being billed at those new prices that we mentioned. From now until the 30th of June, you will continue to be billed at the current pricing. And take note, this is only if you opt in to move to the new commerce experience and sign up onto those terms that we described earlier. The same limit applies up to 2,400 seats per subscription. And yes, normal 20% higher pricing will apply as of the 1st of July. So there's some benefits right now for, you as our customers to move over to NCE. Great discounts on the annual term, and then locking in the price on your monthly term up to the 1st of July. Obviously, the greater benefit would be to convert and sign up on an annual term, because that basically then assures you that even if you're paying monthly, you are not affected by price increases for the next 12 months. So just take that, bear that in mind. Okay, in regards to migration terms, so if you contact Liquid and you say, listen, I understand these new terms and I'm thinking I would like to move over to the NCE, we will migrate you at, you're allowed to be migrated at any time or at your subscription end date. And please always, I think I should mention, please push these requests through your local OPCO. So whoever currently, gives you support, the support contacts that you have, because they are different for each and every OPCO. For those that are managed by CAMS, please contact your CAMS as well. And the reason why we're doing this is, on the next slide, I will show you that not all service plans are currently eligible or are ready for the NCE. So Microsoft has certain subscriptions or service plans, I should be saying, that are now eligible to be moved onto the NCE. So we would always need to do a check to make sure that we look through all the existing subscriptions that you have and see whether they are eligible or not to be migrated. So we will always need to do that check first before we advise you whether you can actually move that specific subscription that you want to move, or to move your tenant onto NCE. Okay. So yeah, just back to the migration terms, you can choose and put in that request at any time for us to be able to migrate you. What happens when you move to the NCE or New Commerce Experience is that we will just put you on the same terms that you're currently on under Legacy CSP. And so what we mean by that is, if you're on an annual term with annual billing at the moment, we will put you on the same subscription term and the same billing option that matches that in NCE. If you're on the annual term, but you're paying monthly, we will also do that. We're moving you to an annual term, unless you specify, since now you understand the changes that are coming. So unless you say, hey, please move me onto the monthly term, we will currently just match what is currently there in your current tenant at the moment. So if you're on a monthly billing at the moment, we will move you onto an annual term with monthly billing options. Okay. On moving, so the moment we manage to move your current subscription, the billing will be suspended and the legacy subscription will be suspended, and the new NCE will now kick, as well as the terms that we described earlier, that 72 cancellation period, as well as the 72-hour period you're allowed to decrease the number of seats or to downgrade your service plan. Those will kick in as soon as your subscription has been migrated to NCE. Okay, and once we hit the deadlines that we've been given, and you either say, maybe I'm just not ready to do this and move on to the NCE, there will be a challenge with that, because your current subscriptions will cease to be active, meaning you will not still be able to continue using that licensing. So we do have some deadlines, which I'm going to share in terms of the timelines that we have, but it's in all our best interests, because all Microsoft customers are being moved to the New Commerce Experience, and this is what we will be using going forward as of the 1st of July for everyone else. Okay, as I mentioned on the subscriptions service plans that are eligible, it's not all of them. So just so that you're also aware, if you're considering moving to NCE, these are the ineligible, service plans or subscriptions that do not qualify at the moment. And that is because Microsoft is either not planning to move them onto NCE. So for example, the retired or obsolete subscriptions or inactive subscriptions, those will not be moved over to NCE. But also for things like people who have licenses that are, in the government segment or classification or education or charity, those are currently still in the works in terms of Microsoft getting them ready for NCE. So as it comes, let me just go through that list. Inactive subscriptions are not eligible. Those will not be moved, obviously, as well as subscriptions that have been provisioned or are still in their first month from the time that that service was provisioned. So if I've just requested for some licenses that were provisioned, like 2 days ago, I will not be able to move to NCE until the first month has passed. Also trial subscriptions. So if it's a trial, you'll run through your trial and it will expire unless you decide to convert it to a paid subscription. The paid subscription will have to wait for the first month and then we'll be able to migrate it to NCE. Also subscriptions with certain promotions. Those we will advise you on the exact SKUs. It's just important for you to always check in with the CAM. We'll look through all the subscriptions you have and advise you whether that current subscription is eligible or not, okay? Also subscriptions with add-ons. So if you have any plans that have add-ons bolted onto them, those are not yet ready, and this is on the Microsoft backend. NCE, the NCE is not yet ready to take on such subscriptions, okay? I think I already mentioned the retired and obsolete. So if you already know that some of your subscriptions fit into these, just take note that those specific subscriptions will not be able to move to NCE. All right, so more to summarize and also just to then, recap on saying, what does this mean for you as a customer? So firstly, we've spoken to, the new subscription terms and billing options. What it does is really gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of, do you want to choose a monthly term, an annual term, a 36-month term, and actually start enjoying the benefits that we've kind of highlighted that come with those terms. So you now have more flexible terms. I know, for some customers, we've had customers who want to sign up onto a 36-month subscription term. Now it's so much easier for us under CSP to actually do that. And also, we've now got those flexible billing options. So even if you sign up onto an annual or 36-month subscription term, you can actually pay monthly and still lock in that price. Also, those long-term commitment benefits that are coming. As we mentioned, there's better pricing that comes with a long-term commitment. There's also a price lock. You're not going to be affected on your month-to-month or annual billing if you are on a long-term contract or long-term subscription term, okay? Also, if you move on to NCE right now, if you sign up on an annual term, you get to enjoy a 5% discount in addition to all the other benefits that we mentioned in terms of locking in the price and being able to add all those additional seats at the same price as well. Also, we mentioned the NCE monthly term benefit, where if you migrate and sign up on a monthly term under NCE right now, you get to lock in the current price you're enjoying and not be affected by those price increases that we mentioned that are coming up. Okay, and this is up to the 1st of July. If you're on an annual term, you get to enjoy it for the full 12 months from the time that you actually renew. So just looking at those timelines again, price increases, those are coming on the 1st of March. I think I highlighted the plans that are going to be affected by those price increases. We will be communicating this as well. You'll see it even on, we're going to push it through some of the invoices and just, to keep reminding you of that. Also, the annual offers migrating to NCE. Those annual promotions that we mentioned, where you get a 5% discount, you get to lock in the price, as well on the monthly term offers as well, okay? New subscriptions, as I mentioned, as of the 10th of March, any new signups will have to be on NCE and sign on to NCE terms. And then the legacy subscriptions, which is what we're currently on, so any existing subscriptions you currently have right now that you signed on to already, as of the 1st of July, we'll have to be renewing, and we should have moved them onto NCE by then. Okay, so that's about it really regarding, at least on the customer end, in terms of, what NCE is all about, the changes that are coming, why they're important, how they're going to affect the current terms that you've signed up on, and how you can actually benefit currently by moving on to the NCE before it's actually enforced, to be mandatory for us to move onto the NCE. So, Shalene, I'm not too sure whether there are any questions.
Thank you, Yemo, for the insightful presentation. So yeah, we do have a couple of questions. So Gary is asking, does the 20% increase apply to all licenses?
Okay. All right. So yes, the 20% increase is applying to all the licenses. And the reason why I'm saying it's applying to all licenses, this is speaking on to anyone who's on a monthly term. Because remember, if you sign up on an annual term, you're not affected, or on a 36-month term, you won't be affected by the price changes. But yes, definitely, this is across all the licenses, specifically, if you're on a monthly term. And just to clarify, with the price increases that are coming, as I mentioned, you'll notice that if you sign up for a monthly term, the price is going to be 20% higher than signing up on annual. Annual will almost match, or 36-month term will almost match the current pricing we're currently on. So that is where we see the price increase coming, if you're on that monthly term.
Okay, thank you. I hope, Gary, does that answer your question?
You can actually unmute yourselves if it's not,
yeah.
It's not clear for the person that I'm responding to. Hi, Gary.
It's all good on my side. Thank you. You've answered it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. We also have Taryn, who is asking, how does the cancellation work if a client reduces the quantity on the subscriptions? So are we still liable for all costs, even if it's not being used?
Yes, that's correct. Did you say it's the questions from Darren?
Taryn.
Taryn, okay. So yes, Taryn, we are, bound to those terms. So even if a customer decides to cancel, and this is why I think it's important, we're communicating to you as our customers. We're also communicating to our partners to advise them that, both as Liquid Telecom, as our partners, as our, as our customers, we are all now bound to this commitment to pay up for the remainder of the term. So basically it would be, we are updating our terms in terms of, the terms our customers will now sign up on. So Taryn, you'll notice that our terms will change once you sign up on the NCE. They will state all these cancellation policies to say you are not able to cancel after the 72-hour cancellation window. And, should you decide to still say, I'm not using the service, but because as a business, we are bound to pay up the remainder of that to Microsoft, it's in our interest for everyone else to also be committed to paying that up as well. So I hope I've answered you, Taryn. Okay, great. I just saw Taryn's response. Shalini, happy to take any other questions?
Yeah, so in terms of migration timelines, so we have Neil is asking, should we retain the monthly term option and then later change prior to July 2022 migration? Is that possible?
Okay, so you can do that and stay on it, but I think the most important thing to note here is if you are on a monthly term, the moment we hit the 1st of July, you're going to be affected by those other price increases. So it's more at looking what's, the better option for you. Locking in that price for the full 12-month period, or you only want to lock in the price up to the 1st of July. Because as of the 1st of July, you'll be hit by the price increases. Nothing stops you from, staying on the monthly term. It's it depends on your business, on your cash flow and all those things. It's an internal decision, but I think it's just important that we highlight the price increases will hit you on the 1st of July. So you get price protection, yes, on a monthly term from now until the 30th of June. I hope I've answered you clearly.
Hi, thank you for the answer there. It's Neil here. I just wanted to confirm, I was more asking if we were uncertain just in terms of our business, what the way forward. So we were deciding the capacity to go monthly term and then decide just before July that possibly we want to commit to a 12-month period as opposed to making that 12-month commitment now.
Okay, so you're saying you would be on the month-to-month term, correct? Where you're able to, make those changes at the end of the month, and then just before you switch to the annual.
That's correct. So say for the next 2 months, we retain the monthly. We say we want to go over to the monthly renewal, and then after the 2 months decide, no, actually we want to commit to the 12-month. We want to get the benefit of the price reduction or what have you, and we want to go on the 12-month commitment. Can you then swap that change, make that change?
Yes. Okay, yeah, sure. I get you now. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, you will be able to do that. So for example, if you switched, and this is based on the fact that you've switched to NCE, Neil. So you move to NCE on a monthly term, right? So you get to lock in the price until, for example, at the end of May, you then say, when my term for the month comes up for renewal, please switch me. I now want to go into an annual term contract. Yes, that's possible. But if you remain on legacy and you don't move to NCE, that will you'll still be affected by the price change. So it's all based on the fact that you've renewed on NCE on a monthly term. Yes, you'll be able to do that. I hope I've answered you.
Emirai, thank you very much for that answer. That clarified. There was just one question above that. A quick one was the terminology change of the subscriptions. Has the terminology changed? Because it hasn't updated on our portal. I'm referring to Exchange Online Plan 1 and Microsoft 365 Business Standard.
Okay, are you talking in terms of those terms that we were mentioning, the subscription terms and billing options?
Yes, so what does Exchange Online Plan 1, for instance, equate to? Is that like the basic plan? It didn't fit into your pricing table.
Was this in regards to the price increases, or are you referring to?
Yes. So on that slide, you're saying you've got the various offer name, but how does that translate to what our various subscriptions are called?
Okay, so
because we don't have we don't have a Microsoft 365 Business Premium. We've got a Microsoft 365 Business Standard.
Okay. So Neil, so for as long as you don't see any of this your plans that you're currently on in this list, those are not affected by this March 1 price change that we've mentioned on a monthly. So remember, this is an increase on the monthly price that's coming up.
Okay.
Will not affect your SKUs here, because this is quite a significant change that you'll notice in terms of the price.
Okay, but we will still probably fall into the NCE.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Yemu. So next question, when is the new pricing model going to reflect on our marketplace?
Okay, in terms of what the new pricing that we're getting under NCE and the subscription term options, is that what you mean?
I believe so, John. Can you clarify, please? You can hear us.
Okay. All right. So yes. So John. So between the 2nd and 3rd week of February, everything is going to be live. But currently, you still can actually, still go onto the NCE. You just put that request through us. It's just that we haven't made it live yet for everyone to access, but we're able to move you onto NCE. So as of around the 22nd, you should be able to at least go in on your own. Right now, we just want to make sure that at least everything is working as desired, but it doesn't stop you from moving. We will do that for you.
No further questions, I think. Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is the first session. We will have regular sessions on NCE to keep you updated. If you have any queries, any questions, please reach out to myself or Emirai. We'll be happy to take you through a discussion. Thank you for joining us again and have a good day.